I was born and raised in Bosnia. The beginning of my childhood was filled with joy and laughter until the day the news broke there was going to be a war there. Me, my friends, or any other child didn't even know what war meant. Our dads and brothers taken away, and some of them never came back. From that time, everything started going down a hill. War had taken everything from us, including our freedom. And that's when us kids started understanding what war meant. It meant pain and sorrow. It meant we could no longer go out and play. We could no longer run free, or we would get killed. Then the school I was going to was bombed and we had to move. That's when I had to walk about 5 miles to get to school, not knowing if I was going to make it. All I had at that time was a notebook and a pencil. And I would run out of space to write in a notebook, then I'd have to start from the beginning by erasing the previous lessons, and that went on for 3 long years. The notebook didn't even look recognizable anymore. I no longer felt as a child, not even a human. I didn't see any purpose of living. My childhood was taken away. I'd ask myself the same question over and over again. If God loves me, why does He make me live like this? Why doesn't He just let me die and let me end the suffering? Of course, then I didn't know the real God. Because my parents are Muslims, I was told that the real God was Allah. But I knew that I couldn't pray to Him anymore. And then the day that would change the rest of my life came. That morning we had about 3 to 4 feet of snow covering the ground, and I was getting ready to go to school. I had these old sneakers that were falling apart. As a child, the front of the sneaker made me think of a big hungry mouth. They had holes all over them. They were also at least 3 sizes bigger because they used to be my older brother's shoes. That morning I had to go to school, and I was crying to my mother that I didn't want to go because I was so tired of getting my feet wet and cold to the point where I couldn't feel them anymore. She then told me that she would put a pair of handmade woven socks on my feet. Then she would tie the bags around them and then put another pair of pretty socks on so nobody could see my bags, and that way my feet wouldn't get wet. I told her that that's the way we had been doing for months, and it didn't work. My feet would still get wet. She looked at me with the eyes full of tears and says, "My dear, this time it will work, I promise." So I didn't say anything anymore, knowing that there's nothing she can do. That morning I went off to school trying not to step in a very deep snow so my feet wouldn't get as wet. When I finally came to the school after about 2 hours of walking, there was a big group of children standing in front of the building, holding pretty decorated boxes. When I got closer, kids seemed to be very happy, with the smiles on their faces, which was very strange to me. I went to the closest group of the kids and asked what was happening. They told me that there were these foreigner people inside giving out these shoe boxes and I should go in and get one too. I thought to myself, why would I need a shoe box? I don't have anything to put in it. When I finally got up to the front, I saw that our whole entire classroom was filled with shoe boxes. I never saw so many shoe boxes in my life. An older man was standing in the doorway. He looked very friendly, with the sadness on his face. He said to me "Zdravo," which meant hello in Bosnian. He then asked me how old was I. I told him I was 10. He nodded his head and handed me a shoebox decorated with a pretty paper. I said thank you to him in English, because I knew he wasn't Bosnian. When he handed me a box, I realized it wasn't empty. It had something in it. The first thing that came to my mind was shoes. I got shoes. I ran to the first corner I could possibly find to open the box. When I opened it, I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought I was dreaming. There was a brand new white sneakers laying in the box right before my eyes. There were pencils and notebooks. Now I didn't have to reuse my old notebook over and over again. It was so good. It was the better than good. It was the feeling that all words of this world couldn't explain it. I felt rich. I truly felt blessed. I was so overwhelmed I started to cry. But these were not the tears I was used to. This time they were tears of joy. This time I knew it was worthwhile living. I truly felt blessed. But I still didn't know who sent me this gift. I realized that someone I didn't even know thought of me in a special way and sent me these wonderful gifts. Although I was thrilled to receive a shoebox gift, I wondered who had sent it and why. I waited until the man who gave me a box was done giving all of the boxes out, and then I went over and asked him who sent this box to me. The man says, "This gift was sent to you by Jesus. He told me that the greatest gift of all is Jesus, and he will come to me if I ask him, and he would give me the greatest gift." I asked him, "Now who this guy Jesus is? Why is he doing this?" And he told me to look at the little booklet I got in my shoebox, and that should explain everything. All excited, I skipped the class that day. Didn't even think about it. Raced straight home to show the shoes to my mom. When I went to bed that night, I took my booklet out to read it, but it was written in English and Russian, so I couldn't get the whole story about my now best friend, Jesus. Even though I didn't know much about who Jesus was, I prayed to my real God every night for him and asked him to take care of Jesus. I wrote the letters to Jesus every night and gave them to the man who gave me a shoebox to give it to him when he comes back to America. He then pulled me aside and told me that Jesus already knows about every word I wrote to him. I said, "Yeah, right, how would he know that if he didn't read them yet?" And he then whispered in my ear very cautiously, so nobody could hear him, and said that Jesus is the God, and that he is the God's only Son. I knew it, I said. I knew that there was a real God that loves me and cares about me. I've been asking about a God all this time, and I knew that he would come. And that's when I invited Jesus in my life, and I was saved. And from that day on, I continue to receive gifts from my real God, whose name now I know, and I'm proud to say my God, only God and real God is Jesus Christ.